first things first, big shout out to the guy in the comments on a previous video I posted that told me on these Boonie hats, you don't run the string underneath your chin. You actually run it around the back of your head and tighten it up against your scalp. And it's a lot more comfortable and it works pretty good. So if you were like me and you did not know that and you've been wearing it under your chin all these years, don't do that anymore. Run it around the back of your head and tighten it up tight, and it fits as securely as like a baseball cap, and it's a lot more comfortable. So on to the topic of discussion for today. In the previous video I posted on why civilians should study the Vietnam War and how it could pertain to us, I mentioned that the environmental conditions were very similar to the summer conditions that we have here in the Appalachian Mountain region and the conditions that they were dealing with in Vietnam, being very high heat, very high humidity. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit today about some of the things that you can do to keep your body functional in those type of conditions, because if you're not used to it and you've not trained and spent a lot of time in those conditions, it can take you out of the game pretty fast. Most of the things I'm going to share with you today are things that I have learned the hard way from my personal experience. That experience being my job. I pour concrete all year round, and the winter is whatever, but the summer is where the true misery lies. All of the most difficult individual days of my life have come pouring concrete at my day job during the summer. So I've learned a lot from that. Also, a lot of camping, hiking, survival training and experience that I've had outdoors. So I'm leveraging all of my life experience to bring you guys some of these tips and tricks that I've learned, as well as a lot of things I have learned from studying the Vietnam War and kind of some of the things that they had to deal with and the ways that they dealt with those things. So operating in high heat, high humidity environments. The word operate means to function in a specified manner. And for us to function in our specified manner, we need to be able to deal with the environmental conditions and not let those conditions wear us down and take us out of the game. So operating in a high heat, high humidity environment. If you're operating in an environment that is hot and humid, then you're probably dealing with a lot of bugs in that environment too. Bugs can take you out of the game, man. Mosquitoes, ticks, lots of different things that can make you sick, can really degrade your performance in the field. So the first thing we want to do is protect against those things. And your clothing is your first line of defense against the elements to include wildlife and bugs. Chances are, if you clicked on this video to begin with, you are aware of these products, but there's bound to be some of you guys out there that aren't aware of these, so I'm going to share them with you. Sawyer makes these two products. This you spray on your clothes. This works extremely well. I've used it at work and for camping for many years. Spray it on your socks, your boots, your pants, your shirts, and it does a great job at keeping bugs away, ticks, mosquitoes, all those little things that will bite you and annoy you and transfer disease. It does an amazing job. This is for your clothes. This is for your skin, any exposed skin. I'll usually put this on my hands and up my arms just a little ways and all around my neck. This is great. This works really great too. A lot of times in the summer at work, I don't wear pants because it's so hot. So I'll rub this all over my legs, and this does work great. I have had Lyme disease before. Certainly don't want it again, but this has, I've never found a tick on me since I started using these two products. So spray all your clothes down and put this on any exposed skin, and this is gonna do a lot for you as far as keeping away those bugs. Another thing what you wanna do is keep your shirt tucked in. Do not leave your shirt open. Keep your shirt tucked in all the way around all the time, and that's gonna prevent stuff from actually getting under your shirt and getting inside your clothing. Another thing, as far as that's concerned, you want to make sure that your pants have a zipper, not buttons. I think most pants nowadays have zippers and not buttons, but there might still be some pants out there that the fly closes it with buttons. You don't want that, because that's just an entryway for bugs, leeches, all kind of stuff when you're operating in these environments. You want to keep all this stuff sealed off as much as possible. So keep your shirt tucked in, make sure you have a zip on your fly. So the next thing is water. There are some things you need to understand about how your body responds physiologically to high heat and high humidity environments. When it is hot, your body needs to dump heat. So you sweat, because wet skin is going to dump heat 25 times faster than dry skin. So that is your body's natural defense mechanism against high heat, is to sweat to get that evaporative cooling off your skin to carry that heat away. The problem is when it's really humid outside, that sweat won't evaporate. So when it's the percent of humidity, that's referring to how much water the air can actually hold. So if it's 90% or 95% humidity or 100%, then that means the air cannot hold any more water. So your sweat's not going to evaporate. So when your sweat doesn't evaporate, it's not carrying that heat away. So your body's response, thinking I need to dump more heat, is I need to sweat more. So you start sweating more profusely because your body's trying to dump that heat, but the sweat is not evaporating because of the humidity. So that is just a vicious cycle of sweating more and more and more, and you start sweating so profusely that you will be dehydrated, and you will come down with heat cramps, heat exhaustion, and then heat stroke. And it'll happen faster than you think if you're not used to these kind of environments. And these are not things that you can just tough out. Also, another interesting physiological response to conditioning to high heat and high humidity is that initially, if you don't operate in this environment a lot, in these conditions a lot, then you will sweat a good amount, but you will sweat a lot of salt and other micronutrients and electrolytes out in your sweat. It'll be so bad that once you do get dry, you will actually be able to brush salt off your arms, off your neck. But as your body becomes more accustomed to these type of environmental conditions, you will start losing less salt in your sweat. Your body will become more efficient at sweating, so it will not actually lose as much of those electrolytes and micronutrients through your sweat, but you will actually sweat out more water. So the more you are conditioned to these environmental conditions, the less micronutrients you're going to lose, but the more water you're going to lose. And this is your body's way of actually becoming more proficient at its job. In high heat and high humidity environments, especially if you're accustomed to it and you actually are sweating out more water, like we just talked about, you can easily down a gallon of water by lunchtime on any given day if you're even working remotely hard. So carrying enough water with you to actually get you through the day is a really important thing. These are all the different containers I have that I carry water with me. This gives me a total of 2.25 gallons of water that I can carry at any given time, with different functions for each container. I might do a video about that in the future, about like how all my kit works together. But just suffice to say that you need to be carrying enough water. When you're going out in hot, humid environments, water is going to be essential. There's no way around it. It's bulky and it's heavy, but you have to carry enough of it with you. If you are exerting yourself in conditions like this, then you can lose up to a quart of water an hour just through sweat and respiration. So that is a lot. That is a lot of sweat that is coming out of your body, much less the water it takes to actually function in your body. So that is how much you need to be replacing consistently. Another thing that you should be carrying along with all your water is electrolyte replacements. I carry a bunch of these. I don't think the brand really matters, but I cannot tell you enough how much of a difference that these make when you're actually working hard. So like every other bottle of water that I'll drink, I'll put one of these in, and this allows me to work at a much higher output for the entire day than if I was just drinking water alone. Initially, like I said, you're going to lose more salt and stuff in your sweat when you're first getting conditioned to these type of environments. So these are going to be, you're really going to need these. But even after you are conditioned, this is going to make a really big difference for you as far as your work capacity throughout the day. Moving on to clothing, I want to talk real fast about my opinions on a field top versus a combat shirt. I love combat shirts. I wear them all the time. Super comfortable. They work really well for what they're designed for. But I found two major problems with them using them outside in these hot, humid conditions. The first problem being when it inevitably gets soaking wet because you're sweating so much, they don't dry out super quick, and you can't carry a lot of them with you as far as changes of clothes. So if you lay down to sleep at night soaking wet, that's going to cause two problems. One, it could lead to hypothermia. Don't make the mistake of thinking it has to be below freezing to get hypothermia. If you're, say it's like early fall, where it's still really hot during the day out here and you sweat really bad, but at night it starts to get, colder, maybe into the 50s or something. If you're wet, you could absolutely go hypothermic in 50 degrees. So the shirts being wet and not drying very quickly is a problem. Also, you can't really pack a ton of combat shirts with you because they're just a bit thicker and a bit more bulky, and they take up more space in your pack. So you don't have clean shirts to change into on a consistent basis. Which brings me to the second problem with the combat shirt being, because you can't pack a lot of them because they're more bulky, you have to wear the dirty shirt constantly. And the more you sweat in it, the more salt is going to build up in that shirt, so the more you're going to chafe. And chafing can be a massive problem in these hot, humid environments. So those are the two problems with the combat shirt that I think the field top addresses. The benefit with the field top is that all I have to do is carry this one field top that I can wear nonstop the entire time I'm out here, and just carry some undershirts to put on under it. Now these undershirts, these are just, I like wool undershirts. They do a really good job of wicking moisture away to an extent. They dry really, really quickly. Just from your body heat, you could lay down in a soaking wet wool shirt, and it's going to help you prevent hypothermia because wool maintains 70% of its insulated value even when it's wet. So it's better when it's wet than other materials. But also it dries really, really well. If you lay down in a soaking wet shirt, when you wake up, it's going to be totally dry. But because of their significantly smaller packed size, you can carry like 3 of these undershirts to one combat shirt. So you can see right here the difference in packed size between these wool undershirts and combat shirt. And this is 3 separate wool undershirts here. And honestly, you could probably carry another 1 or 2 to just match the bulk of this one combat shirt. So say you're wearing 1 combat shirt and you've got 1 in your pack where you've only got 2 shirts. But I can go this route and I can carry 3 or 4 or 5 of these in my pack. So I've got like 5 or 6 shirts that I can keep changing underneath to make sure that they're clean, that they're dry, and that's going to keep me a lot more functional in the field as opposed to just having 2 shirts. So this is a lot more bang for your buck, and it's just a better option. So real quick to socks and underwear. Everybody talks about carrying spare socks, which you definitely need. You're going to sweat, your feet are going to get wet, and then the same thing with these socks getting salty and wet. That can really wear on your feet, so carry an extra socks. But one thing I don't hear people talk a lot about is carrying extra underwear. And I'm going to tell you, in my experience, I would rather have more pairs of underwear than I have pairs of socks. My socks I can wear for 2 or 3 days before I really feel like I need to change them out. But my underwear, I like to carry enough that I can change every single day if I'm going to be out for like 5 days or less. Beyond that, you have to start rationing it out. But having wet, sweaty underwear that gets that salt buildup in them is going to cause you a lot of problems. A lot of chafing is going to occur, and I just find it to be, it keeps me going a lot longer having some clean, dry underwear to change into on a more consistent basis. So just consider that. So let's move on to chafing. This is going to be a problem you're going to run into really no matter what the precautions you take. If you're out in the field long enough in these wet conditions, this is going to be something you're going to deal with. So you're going to chafe a lot. Some people will be different, but you're going to chafe a lot, like between your legs, between your butt cheeks, and a lot of times where you're wearing equipment. So where these straps are, or even around your waist, things like that, you're going to be dealing with rubbing and chafing, which is only going to be accentuated by being wet. If your underwear gets soaking wet, or your clothing gets soaking wet, it starts to pull and grab on your skin a lot worse. Add in that it's wet from sweat, so over time that salt buildup is going to be on your skin. It's going to cause things to chafe even worse. And bad chafing can make it just miserable to try to walk around or function in any capacity. But beyond that, it can turn into open wounds. And then in these hot, humid conditions, those wounds are going to get infected a lot quicker, and then that's going to cause you a whole host more of problems. So what are some things that we can do to prevent and to mitigate chafing? Well, first off, Body Glide. This looks like a thing of deodorant. This works pretty good. Now, I don't have long-term experience with this, but the experience that I do have has been positive. You basically, just like deodorant, you rub it on anywhere that you know that you chafe or you think you might. Literally anywhere. I mean, between your butt cheeks, in your thighs, in your armpits, anywhere that gear is going to sit. And it doesn't feel oily or nasty. Honestly, when you put it on, you kind of forget that you have it on, but it does help things kind of slide and not, you know, grab so much. So this is good. They also make a very small travel size that I actually carry in my bag in with this stuff, and I'll show you some of this other stuff later. So Body Glide is the first thing. That's gonna help you prevent some chafing. Another thing you can do as a preventative measure, or you can do later once you have chafe, and I've done this a lot at work and I've done this camping, just put some spandex on, like over, if you chafe bad, like between your thighs, you can put some spandex on and just over your underwear and just pull this up tight, and this will prevent any rubbing of your thighs. So if you can stand it in really hot conditions, then this is a good option. It does help. Or if you do get chafed really bad, you can put these on and this will help you not be so painful to walk around. So as far as keeping your body clean and functional, and that's really the name of the game out here, is to keep yourself functional. Because if you're out here doing this stuff, it's because you have an important job to do and you need your body to stay functional so that you can complete that job. Being able to clean your body every now and then, because these hot, humid environments, especially when you're sweating a whole lot and you're wearing a lot of the same clothes, you're switching in and out, that is just a breeding ground for bacteria. That bacteria is going to cause infections. It's going to cause your skin to degrade a little bit, and if you're not keeping yourself clean, it can cause a lot of problems. So carrying some of these shower wipes with you, and I find that it takes 2 shower wipes to give myself a full scrub down, but carrying enough of these that every couple of days you can wipe down fully and get clean, this is important. This is going to keep you healthy in the field, as well as carrying a dry washcloth. I carry this in a bag in and of itself to keep it dry and to keep it separate from other things, because a lot of times what I'll use this for is after I use these shower wipes and give myself a wipe down, I'll take this dry washcloth and wipe between my butt cheeks really good. That is gonna dry all that out, carry away any of that salt and anything that gets in there. And if you've done a lot of hiking, you know you can get chafed pretty bad between your butt cheeks, and that really starts to be painful after a while. So having something dry that you can actually clean yourself off with is important. Likewise, as far as the chafing goes, especially wearing chest rigs and plate carriers, there's a chance that you might chafe bad, like on your nipples. Again, even if you're trying to prevent it, it might happen. I have chafed bad enough on my nipples before that they were almost bleeding, and I'm gonna tell you what, that is so painful. So just carrying some small band-aids, so that if that does happen, you can just slap a couple band-aids on wherever you have a small chafe spot. This is going to help you continue to function. And likewise, these bigger bandages, if you get bad chafing between your thighs, you can just slap some of these on wherever you have some chafe spots, and that's again going to help you continue to function, which is the name of the game out here, like I said. So these are all just things that you can do to help yourself stay healthy and prevent chafing and stay clean. And then some options that you have for if you do get chafed to help you continue to function and complete your task. Like I said at the start of the video, the majority of this stuff is things that I have learned myself through my job, and then through being out here in the woods, camping and spending time outside. And some of it is things I've learned from studying the Vietnam War, some of the things that our guys dealt with and how they overcame those obstacles in the field. So I hope you guys learned something. I hope you found something, semi-useful in all this. I also cannot stress how important it is for us as American men, as protectors, to be competent outdoors and competent in warfare to the best of our ability, so that if we're ever called upon to fill such a role, we will be capable of doing so. Hopefully we never have to, but that is the reason we train, is to keep evil at bay. So if it ever does come to that, we need to be able to defend our country and our families. So with that, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.